Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 452. This is a Yank on the Footy coming from Sandusky, Ohio, and from Edmonton, Alberta. Thanks for checking out this episode. I'm joined again by my mate, Myk Aussie. Myk, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing okay, and I hope you're okay with the St Kilda training staff after
Well,
your excellent rant about Ross Lyon. And I agreed with you. You kind of put a bit of shit on people's other professions other than AFL
you know,
players, didn't he?
yeah, I was out for a walk that day, and it just really, I'm listening to that episode of AFL Daily, and it really didn't sit with me well. And where I go walking, it's actually like a little spit of land that's out in Sandusky Bay that it's about a 2.5 mile loop, and there's nobody else out there. There's Canadian geese, there's snakes and turtles and such, but I'm the only human that's out there. And I got pissed at it, and I just thought, I don't know if anybody else is going to challenge him on that because you've talked an awful lot about how people are not wanting to challenge things that people say that you might go, yeah, probably don't agree with that, but I don't want to upset them. Yeah,
You're
but
dead right, mate. Like we said last week, people in Australia are scared they might lose their media passes, and they're all woke and conform and Melbourne. But mate, that was awesome. And I feel really, really sorry for these young AFL kids getting hundreds of thousands of dollars and then having every afternoon free to study or pursue a separate hobby. I feel so sorry for their stress. They just must have way, way, way more stress than you as a teacher. You kidding me? You would have way more stress than any AFL footballer dealing with these kids these days and their phones and their bullshit. So yeah, I agree with you, mate. He
I
kind of did put a bit of shit on other people's professions.
yeah, and it just really didn't sit well with me there. And I tried, and I hadn't made out a list. I was pulling that list out of my head as I was recording it. So there was a bit of a pause there, and I hit carpenters and cabinet makers right back to back. And I'm thinking most cabinets are going to be made by carpenters, but oh well. And I saw something that Josh Jenkins was attributed to. He used to play with your Crows and actually with the Cats for a short while, where he said, "Our sport is too big to fail, but the people running the show are testing that theory out big time."
Oh, I 110% agree with Josh Jenkins, the former Adelaide Crow, excellent forward player. He's actually very good in the media. I've heard some of his
I enjoy
interviews.
him.
He's not scared to say the truth.
Yeah,
Good on him. And
I
he's
enjoy
dead
him.
right.
Yeah, and I will. If you did not see that about 90 second, would we call it a rant? Was it a rant on my part, or was it just simply me expressing my take on things and just kind of going, I don't agree with this, and you might want to rethink things.
No, you were pissed off.
I
Like I
was
get really, really pissed
Yeah,
off.
I was a little pissed off there, and I was joking with somebody else. So I said, that if the opportunity that, and I'm not getting into whom or what, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but if I get the opportunity to possibly get media credentials, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, it would be wonderful. If it doesn't, I completely understand it. But the first game that I'm going to be attending is likely going to be the Cats and the Saints, and I'm just sitting there yeah, hey, Coach
Well,
Lyon,
hang on.
Craig West was
What
yank on
happened?
the footy, and get the hell out.
One of our fans, we haven't explained it. One of our fans was listening, and then his
Yeah.
mate is a St Kilda trainer, correct? So he
Well,
told him that's awesome.
his mate's neighbor is, yeah. So he should.
Okay, good.
It kind of went like through three people there. So
Good.
whether or not anybody else in the Saints have actually seen it or not, maybe the conversation in the change rooms are going, you know, that old fat guy from the United States, he's onto something there. But yeah, I could see them running me out of there before at the first game or something like that. Where Ross is
Oh,
like, hit the door. We just delisted you for being in here.
yeah.
But
He's quite the salesman, isn't he, Ross? Eh?
yeah. And I saw a couple of other things that I ran into in terms of stuff in the media. Um, I posted them with the doc I shared with you today, and it was a couple things from X where it said, round two today, what a lineup, Port versus Essendon,
Oh,
wet toast versus the Roos, how exciting.
oh,
Four teams that get bums on the seats have a bye. Nice work, AFL, or whoever does the fixtures, weighing up whether to watch these two games or pop a couple of Xanax. Now,
oh.
I have not watched Port or Essendon, but I have watched West Coast, and North Melbourne. And I'll be honest, I thought that game was actually rather entertaining for, two clubs that are perpetually towards the bottom of the ladder here in recent years.
Well, that bomb they Eagles Roos looked more entertaining by the highlights
Yeah.
because I watched the Port Adelaide Paps Bombers game. That was terrible. Like, there's 5 teams that are just crap. And that guy, what's his name? Caddy, he got in the best players. He kicked 4 goals. He missing that goal, walking in from like 5 meters out, hit the post, and they reviewed it. That's just disgraceful. So, some very, very average players on both of those teams. And what's the AFL doing to me? Saturday night, 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish, I get Port Adelaide Pap smears 3 weeks in a row. I got them again this week against the Eagles. What are they doing to me? There's no way I'll ever be a Pap smear fan.
But here's the thing. You are a closet Pap smear supporter. We both know it. You just don't want to admit it. You just
I have said this before, but I dislike several Melbourne teams more now than the Pap smears because of the crap I hear coming out of Melbourne and their arrogance, some of their media guys and fans. That's why.
One of the Twitter accounts that I love seeing it's an account called Albert Thurgood, and it's got an older guy, and I don't know if Albert Thurgood was a real guy or not, but he's in an Essendon jumper. I'm just searching here to see. Oh, actually, he was an Austin. Looks like he played for the Bombers. He was born in 1874, died in 1927. So he was a real person. But this guy posts stuff about Essendon all the time, and he said this was the last moment an Essendon player showed passion and a desire to improve. He was the lone passenger on that ship, and it's 3 photographs of Brendan Goddard. And I remember Brendan Goddard. He always looked like he was about 10 years older than everybody else on the ground when I first started watching the game, because he retired in 2018. But I'm thinking about that. He seemed to be a guy that had an awful lot of because he played with St. Kilda before he went to Essendon, that he seemed to like just give a shit. And again, I don't know if there are, if people at Essendon just don't care, but it sounds like, I haven't watched the press conference yet, but, Brad Scott was basically calling out his own team saying, we basically just don't have players that really give a whole heck of an interest in playing defense.
Wow. Well, that's partly his fault as a coach, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Boy, I'm glad we got the other Scott at my team.
Well, let me talk about the Bombers. I mean, I grew up a Bombers fan. Tim Watson and Harvey and all these great players. I saw them win 2 flags back to back in Melbourne. They were fantastic. But I tell you what, they might as well go over and get on some planes and some ships in Iran, because they're bloody not doing much in Melbourne, are they? Oh, we better not talk, but there is something big going on right now, isn't there?
There's a few things going on. I'm going to steer clear of that. Having spent too much of my life in that part of the world already. When I was in the Navy a few years ago, but that was when we were still friends with Iraq. So that tells you how old I am. And I did see, while it was great to get footy started, a week early with the opening round, we're not going to have a regular round of footy where we get basically all 18 clubs, except for when we actually have like during the season bye week. We're not going to get basically 9 games until round 5. I mean, you've got the top 4 sides in the comp right now are off this week.
Yeah, it's crap. It's crap. I went through today and I got all the teams listed in my notes.
Yeah.
And I didn't even bother to mark in what position each team is on the ladder, other than the Suns and the Dogs that have won all 3 games. Right now, who really cares where you are on the ladder? It's so confusing. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, they've really screwed up with this round 0, as the guy emailed to you or X to you, whatever it was.
So let me ask you this: if you're in charge of the comp, I know we're having gather round in Adelaide here in a couple of weeks, which is great. And actually, that's the interesting thing. That's the first full round of the season.
Wow.
And half the clubs aren't even going to be playing on their home ground. They're going to be playing on some lesser grounds, like the Norwood Oval or the one that you visited. They were just I don't remember if that was Norwood or not, that you visited last year, as they were just putting the finishing touches on the facility. Because so again, it's not going to be till round 6 that we get all 18 clubs playing, where 9 clubs are going to be playing home games per se. So do you think we should go ahead and have opening round where you maybe have like even almost a dual gather round and play 9 games up in New South Wales and Queensland.
No, no, they wouldn't get the crowds. Let's be honest, it's still rugby territory. Aussie's doing
Yeah,
okay in Queensland, especially with younger kids, but no, they wouldn't get the crowds.
yeah.
And yeah, I have played on Norwood Oval, Adelaide Oval. I haven't played at Mount Barker where they did play gather round the first year or two, but the
Hmm.
field we were talking about, I went and visited last year with Bobby Bill, and he was Lindock Oval up in the Barossa Valley. So I played there as a kid.
Okay, okay. So, this has been a lot of stop and start. In the military we used to call it hurry up and wait. It's kind of how things are
Mm.
going. Get yourself ready to go. And do you think with all of this, we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of soft tissue injuries that come about. I mean, a lot of hamstrings, a lot of quads. So Griffin Logue did a quad yesterday in the Ruse game. Connor Rosé, it sounded like he broke his butt, is what it sounded like. I mean,
What? Wow.
Connor Rosé was left with some kind of a gluteus maximus type injury. It sounded like he pulled something in his butt. He could hardly walk off the ground during that game the other day.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you just reminded me of an image I just saw online. It was the straight of a moose with a finger up someone's butt, looking like the straight of a moose. Ugh, you're pissing me off saying things like that. Port Adelaide, they needed kicking the butt after week one, and they did last night. They
Yeah.
really played well against that pathetic Bombers team.
So if you were, let's just say that you happen to, you're in Edmonton, and let's say you're not Australia, and you turn on the television, you started watching this game, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what the heck is this? And you go, okay, this is kind of interesting, and you decide you're going to become a supporter of one of these clubs. If I offered you up 2 clubs and you had to choose one of them right now, would you want to hitch your wagon to the Essendon Bombers or to the West Coast Eagles?
Oh, Eagles, absolutely. I've always liked the Eagles.
Yeah.
They kept too many players after the premiership in 18. Way too many. They looked after the old players and disastrous. But no, I've always liked the Eagles. I like the city of Perth. Had 2 great times there for holidays. And yeah, they got some kids coming through. Harley Reid caused a bit of trouble. But aren't all these players, it's starting to become a little bit too much soccer like where players get a bit of an elbow and they'll fake it and fall down. So I'm not liking that. It's coming into the game that really pisses me off.
So while they're trying to speed up the game with the kick-ins inside the outside of the arcs and that sort of thing to keep the game moving, are we going to need something in the game that allows the umpires to have the ability to quickly take a look at somebody who has flopped? I mean, I think there's 4 umpires on the ground right now, isn't there? Is it 3 or 4? Did they go back? I think they went back to 4, didn't they?
Oh,
I think
I
it's
don't
4.
know,
Now.
but
I think it's 4 now.
the rules make it hard for the umpires.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but I mean, just if you've got guys who've started to adopt what soccer players or what I'm gonna go ahead and call out people who argue is the greatest NBA player of all time, LeBron James, who does nothing but flop anymore. I've lost. So I don't even watch basketball. All I do is see the highlight videos of him flopping around like he was a swordfish that got into the back brought into a charter fishing boat.
Oh,
It's just it's sad to watch him. And again, I know he's a lot older now than he was when he was playing 20 years ago, but if that's what you have to do to try to maintain your competitive advantage, maybe it's time to pack it in.
yeah, suspend them do like replays, fine them or suspend them for flopping. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, is there a way to do that in the AFL? And folks, if you're listening, send us a note because we'd love to hear from you in terms of what can we do to address the issue of flopping. If guys are, flailing around like a soccer player, which I don't enjoy watching soccer. The only soccer I used to watch was my school team when I was announcing for them. I don't anymore, but I see the flops and it's like, this is ridiculous.
Well, didn't someone get in trouble a few years ago? I reckon an AFL player did get in some trouble for flopping. We'll have to check up on that.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But then Ginnivan used to drop his knees, and your friggin' mate from Geelong.
I was just going to mention. I was going to mention
their knees to get the freeze, right?
Yeah,
That's not as bad as flopping, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not good.
well, it's like Nick Watson in at Hawthorne who stands up straight to get those.
Yeah.
'Cause but yeah, I mean it's so talking about some individual players here, we look at the um the prospects of outfitting a new team, and the Tasmanian side played their first VFL game this weekend. They beat Coburg, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They played a home game, sold it out, beat Coburg by about 15 points, if I'm not mistaken. But let's just say that you've been put in charge of list management for
Yep.
the new club coming into Tasmania.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to give you three players from three different positions on the ground, and you're going to be able to add one of each one of these players from each of these positions. And this is a player who's going to be thrilled to be there. You're not trading for them, or you're going to get 1 year on the contract, and they're going to go back to Melbourne, or they're going to go back to Sydney or Perth or wherever. They're keen to sign a long-term deal with your club, knowing that you're going to be able to pay overs for a while to help make sure your club gets competitive there. So, which position do you want to start with first? Defenders, midfielders, or key forwards?
Okay, so I can't select them and then trade them straight away like happens in the NFL. I can't do that.
No, these players,
Okay.
these are established players who are going to come join your club and hopefully make your club relevant as quickly as possible.
All right, let's go for midfield to
Okay.
start.
Here are your three midfielders that you have to choose from. Okay, and everybody here is 25 years or younger. Okay, so you've
Yeah.
got you got Nick Dacos from the Magpies,
Yeah.
Harley Reid from the Eagles,
Yeah.
or Zach Butters from Port Adelaide.
Oh, that's a no-brainer. Nick Dacos for two reasons. He's an absolute star. His fitness, he's smart, and it would take away a player from the team that I dislike the most, the dobbing, swooping bastard Magpies.
Okay. Okay, that one was an easy one then. Okay, that was an easy one. All right. Defenders or key forwards next?
Let's go forwards.
Okay, here are your three forwards. Josh Tracy from Fremantle,
Ooh,
Adelaide's Riley Thilthorpe,
ooh.
or Sam Darcy from the Bulldogs.
I think a no-brainer there. I think I'll go Thilthorpe. I think I'll go Thilthorpe. I got a list.
Okay.
No, he's a beast, mate, and he's staying fit. He had a
Yeah.
couple of injuries early in his career.
Yeah.
He's an absolute beast, and you put him in ruck. No, I'll go Thilthorpe. Darcy didn't play that well in the Crows.
Mhm.
Tracy, I do like. Cyclone Tracy, I like him. No, I go Thilthorpe.
All right. Okay. And so for your defenders, and again, there are 9 players from 9 different clubs, so there are no duplicated clubs here. So we've already eliminated Freo, Adelaide, the Bulldogs, the Pies, the Eagles, and the Power, or the Pap Smears if you prefer. Okay, so your defenders, the Cats, Sam de Koning, Josh Weddle from Hawthorn, or Mac Andrews from Gold Coast.
Oh, say that again. I got to think about this one.
Sam de Koning from Geelong, Josh Weddle from Hawthorn, or Mac Andrews from Gold Coast.
Oh, that's a tough one. I will go. How old's Weddle?
They're all 25 or under.
He's from the Hawks, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I'll go him. I'll go him because I don't like the Hawks. And McAndrew, he's okay, but no, I'll go Weddle there. But that was a bit tougher one for me, I'll be honest.
Okay, so you got Thilthorpe, you got Dacos, and you got Weddle joining your club right there, and you've hurt two of the 3 big clubs in Melbourne as you go forward with your club. So there, yeah, and folks, let us know which of those 3 you would choose for each of those. So again, Tracy, Thilthorpe, or Darcy for your forward position, Dacos, Harley Reid, or Zach Butters for your midfielders, or de Koning, Weddle, or Mac Andrews for your key defender there, because it's kind of fun to think about these things. And I was actually just chatting with somebody about our fantasy leagues. There's 10 of us here in the US that are in a fantasy league. And the way this season has stopped and started, everybody has like 4 or 5 players, some even 6 or 7 that are on bye weeks, at the outset of the season. It's really hard to put together a list. I mean, I had like 6 players out of my starting 18 that were out this week, and I didn't even have enough. I had like 2 spots that were unfilled because I didn't have enough healthy bodies to actually plug in. So
yeah, I like that. And I like that segment. And my mate Freemo, who you had on the show,
Yeah,
the Magpie fan, my
yeah.
former coach in Burnaby Eagles, he ripped into Butters last week after the game because he's best mates with Watkins and Dad, and he ripped into Butters for playing not too good. Well, it must have worked because Butters came back and
You know,
he's a star, isn't
he
he? Eh?
is. He
He's
is.
so quick. His reflexes and speed is just beautiful to watch, actually,
So,
even though he's a pap smear.
well, at least until the end of this year, and then he's going to
Yeah,
probably be somewhere. If you were going to be placing a wager right now, where do you think he's going to be playing in 2027?
I don't know, but my mate here, Hicksy, the cricket guy, I was talking to him last night. He reckons he'd take 3 first rounders for Butters. So he's
Okay.
a Pap smear fan too. So
Okay.
I don't know. Wasn't there rumours of Geelong or Western Bulldogs?
That's
Depends
what I
who's got
that's
the
what
money, right?
that's what I've heard, and I know I've heard that
Yeah,
the Magpies are going to try to find anybody that can kick more than 25 goals in a season to plug into
yeah,
their lineup for next year, because I still worry about them being solid midfield, but I just don't know if they've got enough weapons up front to be competitive all year long. I still think they're
yeah.
going to take a slide back. So
Well, it
um
depends if it'll depend if Butters just goes for the most money or whether he wants to stay at Port Adelaide. And even
yeah.
though I don't like Port Adelaide, I'd kind of like to see him stay.
I mean, are you kind of a big fan of players being, single club players for their career, if at all possible? I mean, it's kind of a
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, we don't want to talk other sports much, but look at Tom Brady. Took less money every year to win Super Bowls. I mean,
Mhm.
it helped when you had a wife making as much as him. But yeah, stay at the same club if you can. But then so much money gets flashed at you. It's going to
Yeah,
be hard at times, isn't it?
yeah. It's neat to see, a player that's able to play, an entire career with their particular club, and it's one of the things that I do like about, and I know we've talked about the salary cap in the AFL. It's one of the things that I love about this sport is that, in theory, any of the 18 clubs can put together a premiership winning side. Any of them.
No,
But
no,
but
no, I'll
but
disagree then.
you don't think that you don't. So
I
who's
think there's 5 teams that are absolutely crap this year.
right? No, but I mean, in theory, if they're able to build the list, and they nobody can spend more than them necessarily. Is what I'm
Oh
getting at.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I get,
it's
I
kind of
get
like
what
kind
you
of like
mean.
kind of like the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers can compete for a Super Bowl, just like the Los Angeles Rams or the Chicago Bears or the New York Jets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because they all have the same set amount, they all have the same amount of money to spend. You know, that's
Yeah, I
it's
know,
one
but
of it's one of
how much can we really track? Money going to someone's wife and or girlfriend and etc. Like your Geelong Cats kind of exaggerated a little bit. I know they didn't get in trouble, but there was quite a few rumours that the Cats might have put some money other places too, right?
well, this is not an agricultural podcast, so I don't.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah, Jeremy, he's a farm for you, for your wife, or your second cousin, but you can live there.
I have heard some rumblings. Yes,
Right.
yeah, I have heard some rumblings about that. So, what and we kind of skipped over it because we started out with this last week. What's got you fired up this week?
What's got me fired up? That idiot missing that goal. What was his name? Caddy. And
Nate
they
Caddy?
reviewed it. I'm laughing my head off. Absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
The stupid round one is still a carryover because of the less games going on. Absolutely. Oh, this is another one. This is where the AFL app pisses me off. Oh, NG Stadium, crowd, TBC. What's that mean? To be confirmed?
I
The
think so.
AFL, the games that draw shitty crowds, the AFL don't actually put the crowd figure. You notice that? Check that out, guys, going forward. So, fair enough, there was hailstorms or whatever in Greater Western Sydney,
Yeah.
but I often notice it. Most weeks, there's 2 or 3 games where it says TBC, crowd not confirmed or whatever. It's just a cover up for their shit crowd. And yeah, obviously, putting a team in western suburbs of Sydney, how's that working for you, AFL? Terrible.
Well,
Terrible.
yeah, it's yeah, because round two. I mean, today's the 22nd. They still don't have the crowd number for the Saints game there listed on looking at Footy Wire. It's not listed
There
there.
you go.
Now,
Yeah.
I did see Michael Shalito, who's on Twitter, who's a huge Giant supporter, was posting some things about how the lines getting into NG Stadium were very much delayed yesterday. Like the crowd control he thought was very poorly handled in terms of getting
Why?
people into the stadium, that they weren't getting them in a timely fashion is what it looked like to me.
Was it that I was about to watch the game, but it was delayed from thunderstorms, wasn't it? Friday night.
I believe so. Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were interviewing.
yeah,
They were interviewing Jesse Hogan in the rooms while I was waiting for the game to start. So then I
yeah,
turned it off. Turned it up, went to bed, went to sleep.
yeah. I haven't watched that one yet, but as I did say in my little rant about Ross Line, I said you might be winning your first game here pretty soon, and they did.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't tip them to win that one.
No, I didn't either. But Friday, listening to some shows, I'm thinking, you know what? They are a chance. And I did have Giants to cover, but Friday I'm thinking, nah, I reckon Saints won't win, but I reckon they're a real chance
Yeah,
to cover. So I did. That's the trouble. We're doing the show early in the week, but at least we can get it out for the full week, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll take a little bit of flack for that.
yep. So yeah, I'm. It's yeah, I still don't know if I've made the wrong people mad doing that, but I guess I'm not going to worry too much about it there. But
Nah,
yeah.
Dave, you're right.
So
It's funny, mate. It was good. Yeah.
and I've like I said, it popped into my head, so I was just kind of just going with the flow there when it happened. But so I think we both got 7 of the 9 games right this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you beat me. You're up
Did
by
I?
one. So we were even, and I went Crows, you went Dogs. So
And
I
then
was
and
4-3, you were 5-2.
oh, that's right, yeah, because we both went GWS and we both went North Melbourne against the Eagles.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Yep.
did like Eagles as a chance for a roughie, but I
Yeah.
didn't pick.
Well, and I have contemplated, yeah, and again, we've got the top 4 sides that are on the ladder right now, and again, the ladder really doesn't matter at this point in time, but we've played 2 or 3 games, and the best clubs at this moment in time, none of them are playing right now. So, of course, North Melbourne is number 6 on the ladder at this point in time as well. So I'm not sure if that qualifies as being best on the best in the comp as it is anyway there. So we get to start out with both of us, our clubs playing one another on Thursday night. And that's one I'll get up early for that one because that's going to be like a 5:30 start for me, and it sucks because the game will not be over by the time the school day starts. So I always hate when that happens because I have to wait till the end of the day to find out what happened. That's so frustrating. That's so frustrating. But the Cats are hosting your Crows on Thursday night. Cats are looking relatively healthy. Calamachi and Rory Laird are going to both be out for your group. Looks like Achi's going to be out for about a month and a half at least. Because it's the second time he's done that hamstring this year already.
Ouch. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna take a risk here. I'm either going to be even with you or I'm going to be down by 2 on the year tally after the first round. I don't think your Cats are that good. They were lucky against the Dockers. Didn't they get belted in round 1?
Oh, by the
They're
Suns, yeah.
favored. They're favored between 13 and 10.5. So the odds are a bit over the place early in the week. Oh, look, I don't think the Crows' record is that good down in Geelong. I'll take the Crows to cover. Okay, I'll go for a risk. I'll take them to win because I think your Cats are overrated. But tell you what pissed me off about the Crows. They were down against the Bulldogs. Then they scored a few goals near the end, and Jason Dunstall said, finally the Crows are attacking, not like the first quarter where everyone kicks backwards and sideways possession. I might just start watching the last quarter of each game. Anyway, the Crows were still down, and they started to celebrate a little bit too much for my liking after they scored a goal. So you want to watch that a little bit because then they lost. They did lose in the end.
Well, I think you may be on the right track with the Cats. I don't think had Jeremy Cameron and Dangerfield been healthy round one, it might have been, I think, closer, but I think the Suns probably still would have won that game. But I am going to go with the Cats just because it's a home game for them. So yeah, we're definitely that game's going to either bring you closer or move me further away on
I'll
that
be in a
one.
hole, won't I? I'll be in
Yeah,
a hole, but hey, make me
but
determined to recover.
you mentioned the Bulldogs, and I know they're not playing this week, but watching the Bulldogs play so far, 3 games this year, are they reminding you a little bit about like the final act of the first Happy Gilmore film when Happy Gilmore finally learned how to putt? Remember, because he could drive the shit out of the ball. He's driving the ball 400 yards. He's driving the ball onto the green, but then he was 5 or 6 putting. And I remember the line, something from the film was something, where he's telling Shooter McGavin, guess who learned how to putt? It's almost like the Bulldogs are going, guess who's learned how to play just a little bit of defense? I mean, if the Bulldogs, with the way their club is set up right now, and it is a quality team. I wonder, if they had ever figured out how to actually stop other clubs, they could be dangerous. And it was just really interesting to see how that went. And I'm trying to remember it's Oscar Baker who I was thinking of. Who looks like Oscar Baker, who looks like he was, a roadie for the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
But just when I saw the Bulldogs playing it, and I don't know why, maybe it's I'm a little twisted in the head, but it just reminded me of that Happy Gilmore thing, that he learned how to putt, they've learned how to play a little bit of defense, and that's good because I think I said that during several episodes last year, and even during my previews this year, that if they can figure out how to do that, this could be a dangerous side. This could be a really dangerous club.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to keep it up, to be honest. They'll get a couple of injuries, and I don't still see them as a top 4 team. But Bontempelli's now favourite to win the Brownlow. I looked at that a minute ago.
Yeah, and he's played extraordinarily well this far. Yeah, I could see that. And his Petrarca's look like he's gonna be out for a while with a hamstring also. But they're off this week, so that gets his recovery started a little bit more quickly. So you're going Crows. I'm going Cats. Because
we're recording this very early in the week, I will message you if I change my pick.
No problem.
Money line. Yep. I'll keep Crows on the plus, but because it's so early in the week, I really think I have permission to change the pick before the game, if that's okay. And you can you do the same. You let me know if you change any of your picks on the money line /win.
Yep, I will definitely do that. So we've got Collingwood hosting GWS at Marvel Stadium. So keep Scott Pendlebury in your thoughts as he travels outside of his comfort zone. So I'm going with the Giants to get this win on the road. I think they're a better club than Collingwood right now. So what say you, sir? I'm going Giants by 8. Giants by 8.
I hope you're right, but gives me a chance to take a point off you. I will take the Magpies. I should have checked their record at Marvel. God, they're favoured, aren't they? Like you said, they got to go, 2 kilometres down the road. Oh, their fans will be upset. Yeah, they're just favoured too much. I'll take the Magpies in that one. They're favoured by 10.5 right now, and I'll take them to win and cover.
Okay.
But like I said, I should have checked their record at Marvel.
Yeah, this week I think is one where we can safely say there's going to be some separation here, because I have a feeling that at least one more of our games are going to have a different selection. I think at least one of the games, because there's only 7 this week, I think one more of them we're going to possibly have a different take on it. Okay. Right. So you're going with the Pies. I'm going with the Giants on this one. I just have a funny feeling, that the Giants they're going to bounce back. I just think they're still a more talented club than Collingwood are right now. So St. Kilda's hosting Brisbane at Marvel. Marvel Stadium has, I believe, 3 games this weekend.
Yeah, I see that.
3 games this weekend. Yeah. MCG only has 1. So St. Kilda hosting Brisbane. Brisbane
All
still
right.
has a few injuries, a couple suspensions still going on. Um, what say you, sir?
Lions are favoured by 11.5 at this stage. I'll take them to win off the bye. I think they'll be raring to go. Glad it's during the season, so the off season they're getting too much trouble with other women. Apparently, too many of their players were either footy trip a couple of years ago and Lockie Neal. So let's hope they're focused on the football again
Yeah.
after the off season maybe getting a bit too big headed with their premierships and getting too many other women by the sounds of it, but just
Well,
rumours. So,
okay.
yeah, I'll
Well,
take the Lions to win and
okay.
cover.
Well, I staying with the theme, I am going to defer to the professionality of the Saints.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going with the Saints to win this one by five.
Oh,
I'm going with the
nice.
Saints to win this one by 5. And I'm even gonna go one further. Jack Higgins is going to take a mark with 8 seconds left in the game from 35 meters out at a 20-degree angle. He's going to kick the game-winning goal after the horn has blown.
All right.
So I'm going with the Saints.
And Ross Lyon talks about you in his media conference.
You know what? I've had enough people call me a son of a bitch over the years. So, but he probably wouldn't do that in the press conference. So I would imagine that would come later on. Yeah. So Fremantle and Richmond out at Optus. So the Dockers got another home game. The Tigers lost a couple players to injury. Tom Lynch, Nankervis, I think, went down also with a soft tissue injury. I'm going with the Dockers in a percentage builder right here. I've got the Dockers winning this one by about 6 goals.
6 sixes are 36, and I didn't need a calculator to do that, young kids. They're favoured by. Well, this is confusing because right now online it's telling me they're favoured by 46.5, but then the other sites are saying 35. So I'm not sure on the spread there, but I'll take the Dockers to win. And if it's 46, I'll take the Tigers to cover.
Yeah.
But if it's 35, I'll take the Dockers. Yeah, look, they're looking good. And like I said last week, we need Shea Bolton to start to play like he did at Richmond, and he got best players. So him and Tracy and Brayshaw, top 3. So yeah, they're looking good, even though they got a terrible looking jersey. I'm kind of a bit keen on the Dockers this year.
Would you like them to go back to the old green and purple one with the anchor in the middle?
Of course, the anchor. Yeah, that looked way better. Seriously, yeah.
Okay. Now, where do you rank their team song?
I don't think I've heard it.
That Frio way to go, hit them real hard.
Okay, yeah, don't care.
Yeah, don't care. I didn't know if you like. I mean, it's one of the more modern ones. It's
Is it?
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. The cats theme song is the alarm on my phone, so that's what I wake up to every morning.
Oh God.
But I have to tell you, if I was going to choose a club by their song, it might be GWS's song.
Okay.
That big sound. I love that song. Not a GWS fan, but that's a kick-ass song. I really like that one a lot.
All right. Well, we're gonna get moving, man.
Yep. Okay. Essendon and North Melbourne at Marvel. I'm going with the Roos to win this one by about 19. I think that the Carlton Blues are thankful that Essendon exists because that means they don't have to be the worst club in Melbourne.
Yeah, look, these two teams don't deserve any more than probably 10 seconds of your or my team. I'll take the Roos. They're favoured by 11.5. I'll take them to cover. Disappointing, eh? We think they're good, then they get belted over there in Perth. Bombers are just disgraceful. Very, very upset with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roos to win and cover.
Okay, that's what I've got going on as well. And then we head back to the Adelaide Oval for Port Adelaide, hosting the upstart West Coast Eagles, who are looking for a 2-game win streak.
Yeah, I'll take the Pap Smears to win at home. Sadly, I got to watch them again Saturday night. As I said, they're 28.5-point favourite.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'll take the Eagles to get closer than that. So Eagles on the plus. Pap Smears to win, probably, but let's hope the Eagles win. And Andrew McWalter gets his 3rd win of all time. That'll be good.
Well, I feel bad because I just checked here really quickly to see whether or not the Oilers are playing on Saturday night this week, but they're playing at 1:30 your time in the afternoon against the Ducks. So you'll still have plenty of time to watch the the Port Adelaide and Eagles game instead there.
Well, I
Yeah.
watch it because I'm better to watch it than going out to the pub and spending money and that. So yeah, I've still aimed to stay in most Saturday nights lately. So yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Alrighty. And the last game of the round, the sole game at the MCG this weekend. You've got Carlton hosting Melbourne. Um, what are you thinking on this one?
Interesting. I didn't look at the spread. I'm thinking the Blues off a bye might win this, but the Demons are actually favoured by 1.5. So basically, it's a pick 'em.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to take the Blues on this one.
Wow.
But again, I don't like either team, and
Yeah.
both teams are pretty crappy. But I think Blues have probably got a bit more potential than the D's.
Okay, I'm going with the D's to win this one by about
Wow.
10. By about 10. Again, it's one of those games where, both of them need to prove it to viewers that they're worthy of you checking out for an extended period of time there. Um, and I know I tipped the D's to finish 17th on the ladder this year. That might be a little too low. I'm going to go ahead and own that one. But there you go. There's our tips for this week. I think we are different on at least 3 games out of the 7.
Lots.
So we're gonna see some different, unless we have some tie games.
Let's count them up. 2,
yeah.
3, 4 were different, but like I said, I think we have the right to change it up until game time because we're doing this so early in the week. I mean, if this was like last year, we did it on Thursday. No, I think we got to stick to what we say.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in a week, and you're right, with Archie and Laird out, that may swing my vote to the Cats, but I'll go with the Crows at this stage. Plus, because we had so many different anyway, one of us might crash and burn bad.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that is definitely true there, and it's and I have a feeling that will probably end up being me there as far as that goes.
Oh, you're beating me now, so maybe not.
Yeah. So which one of those games would you say is a lock that you could say you guarantee that's going to win, that you guarantee your pick is going to be correct?
All right, I'm glad I've written this down. I will say the Fremantle Dockers over the Tigers.
I think that's probably the safest bet there out of all of those. Yeah, because I could see West Coast coming in and just playing an inspired game after getting a win and going, you know what, we actually can do that. There's nothing that says that we have to be the Washington Generals to everybody else's Harlem Globetrotters and just get our asses kicked week in and week out. I think that's probably the best option there because the Cats and Adelaide are going to be way too close. A lot of these games, as you said, they were very close in terms of the differential in which teams are favored.
Yep.
So all right, so we each episode we tend to do a little.
Hang on.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Biggest upset you wanted to upset? I'll say the Crows as the chance for the biggest upset with Eagles second. And my best bets for the week, Moneyline multi. That's 3 teams you put to win in a multi or a parlay. Dockers, Pap Smears, and Lions. And my best against the spread at this stage, I'll go the Eagles on the plus, the Lions on the minus, and the Crows on the plus. But be careful, especially with the plus minus the spread, because it's very tricky in the AFL, and I do only normally do 2 or 3 games with bets for those. Yeah,
I think the one that could be the most interesting upset could possibly be West Coast over Port Adelaide. I think that could possibly happen, although I think Port Adelaide's defense, they've got 2 very quality talls back there with Aliir and Radigalia, and I think if Todd Marshall works out back there, I mean they're going to be able to handle, I think, the forward structure of the Eagles there. But I think that maybe it's part of me is just wishing the Eagles to try to be better, to make, because I think we both want, and I think all footy fans, even if your club is a perpetual top 4 finisher, I think we all want clubs to be more competitive. I think we don't want clubs to come out there being doormats and just, getting walked all over week in and week out. I don't think anybody wants that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So each week we tend to do a little bit here where I get to see whether or not you get to still call yourself Australian in terms of some slang terms. But You proposed switching this around on me today. I don't know if you're ready to do that today or not, but
I'll just add a couple at the end, maybe, for you.
okay. Okay. So the five that I had for you, and I figured in honor of last week's introduction of the term fig jam, uh, which I just I absolutely love. I told many of my coworkers about that and said, I can't do it because the kids might figure it out, and I wouldn't do it anyway. But just like, hypothesizing to someone, well, what makes you think that you're so fig jam? I mean, I haven't. I'm not going to ask him that, but it's just like that would have been a question to ask. First of all, they would have asked what a fig was.
Well, actually, no, hang on. Fig jam actually tastes really nice, to be
Well,
honest.
yeah, I
My
did look it up.
grandmother used to make it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
damn good.
yeah, that's stuff. It's stuff kind of the stuff you'd find inside of fig Newton.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's a little it has to be a little bit gritty because of the there's grit inside of a fig anyway,
Okay.
inside of the
Yeah,
seeds
it's
there.
good.
So
It's
yeah,
good stuff.
okay, so I think I'm starting to get to the point where I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of finding terms to use for this. So
All right. Well,
we might end up having to scrap this here pretty
no,
soon and just
I'll reverse it. I'll think of something to ask you.
well that then you know what? I'm going to look like a blithering idiot here because I'm
Oh,
not going
let's
to know. Yeah.
do three this week, and then I'll give you two. Yeah,
Okay,
try that.
so all right, so what is a Buckley's chance? A Buckley's chance.
That's a Nathan Buckley's fig jam chance, eh? Buckley's chance is not much chance at all.
Yep.
Like I don't give the Tigers much chance to beat the
Okay.
Dockers.
Okay, yep. A Buckley's chance, little chance, yes. What is a Yabo? Yobbo.
I
A
reckon
Yabo.
that guy Caddy from the Bombers, he was a yobbo missing that goal. Yeah, yobbo's just like just an idiot, doesn't dress properly, bit redneckish. Is probably redneck's probably a similar
Okay.
term that you
Okay.
guys use, or just thongs and t-shirt and thongs and singlet and beer gut and just yobbo. Yeah,
There
just
you
a
go.
good Aussie term. Good
All right.
Aussie term.
All right. Yep. What I saw was a loudmouth, badly dressed Australian male.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
kind of fits that. Yep. Okay.
yeah.
And I'm gonna need to know the derivation of this one, but what about the term she's cactus?
She's cactus.
She's cactus.
Probably use that when your car doesn't start, like she's screwed, your car's screwed, or
You're right. You're
or
definitely on the right track. Yeah. And
she's
and
cactus. Yeah, something's not working properly.
an item that won't work. Yes. An
Yeah.
item that
Yep.
won't work is the term she's cactus. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay. So you're gonna throw a couple of them at me, or I'm gonna go ahead and absolutely butcher these.
Yeah, I think you'll get the first one, but I used it in a video I did recently. Uh Obviously an Aussie bird is a real bird, but what's the other term for an Aussie bird?
Well, I think if I remember, I did watch the series of those dirty swooping bastards that you had on there, and there I don't remember the young ladies that you had pictured there as well, but I believe that's the meaning behind there. Supposed to be a beautiful woman, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely, yes,
Yes.
because and I used AI, and it's because they're pretty and beautiful and they dress well. So yeah, Aussie bird is a good term for a nice Australian lady, and I use the pictures of Elle Macpherson and Israel, my mate in South America. He couldn't guess it. He guessed it was Nicole Kidman and a couple others, but I picked Elle Macpherson, who was Joey from Friends, was lucky enough to make out with in one episode. So she was my number one Aussie bird.
Yeah, is she from Australia, Elle Macpherson?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you
Okay.
got to be Australian. Yeah,
Okay.
you got to be an Australian to be an Aussie bird.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, number two. You often hear Billy Brownless say this. What is a flog? Oh, I thought you'd get this.
No, I'm thinking about how to word it. It's kind of like it's kind of like a person who makes bad decisions, a dumb person, somebody that screws up a lot.
Yes and no. It's what's that that soccer TV show in England. Anyway, they often
Ted
call
Lasso.
it, yeah, Ted Lasso. They called Ted Lasso a wanker.
Oh yeah.
So a flog is the word that Billy Browners and other Aussies use on Aussie radio for basically calling you a wanker, which is just an insult. It's just an
Yeah.
insult,
Yeah.
but it's a commonly used saying in Australia, just as an insult, guy on guy. No real harm done.
It's not like another four-letter word that gets bandied about between mates who are, you know,
Well,
which
hang on. Oh my God. Here we go. My last one.
uh-oh.
Last one. What is a T-nuck?
T-nuck? T like Teanuc?
No, spelled Tnuc.
I have seen this one before. It is simply the inverse of another word. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
An
it is.
Aussie barman in Calgary, he says, don't say the C word. See you next Tuesday. Call them a T-nuck. I said, what do you mean? He goes, we'll spell it backwards. And it's the perfect word to use to someone because I feel good, but the other person has no idea what it means. So there's some stress relief.
Or
Call
they
someone a T-nuck.
or they figure it out 20 minutes later on the drive home and they're going, "Oh, wait a minute."
They won't figure it out. They won't figure it out.
All right. Well, Myk, as we wrap up today, tell the listeners what you've got going on. I know you've been working on that 30-day project, and where can people find your work, sir?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of not taking on too much right now, which is good for me because I'm pretty hyperactive at times and do too much. So, Mykaussie.tv with the AFL section and Instagram and Facebook, Myk Aussie, and still no X. So I got to look into that.
Okay. Have you've not heard back from them at all yet, or?
Oh, no, I haven't. I haven't really cared, to be honest. It's kind of a good break for me because I waste too much time on there because
Yeah.
you kind of just tweet your thoughts all the time. And what's the real point other than you get in trouble, right?
Well, let me ask you this. Have you reached out to cancel? Because I know you had a blue check mark. Have you reached out to cancel that so you're not paying for it?
Oh, I did. Yeah, well, there's another thing. I used to have a blue check mark and I still was paying. And then they took the blue check mark away, but I was still paying them. So I canceled that, of course.
Okay, so the guy that commandeered your account and has changed the name. It's no longer Myk Aussie on there, if I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
mistaken.
Elon Musk's picture.
It's Elon Musk's picture. Well, I
Yeah.
could see the resemblance there. Yeah, it's yeah,
Well, intelligence. He's pretty smart, that guy. Holy crap. You got to hand it to him.
and you think you're not?
Well, even though he's going to ruin the world with AI robots and everything, AI, but still, he's pretty smart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, and again, if you've not checked out any of Mick's stuff, I encourage you to do so. He does tremendous work promoting cricket in Edmonton. He's a huge advocate for sport here in North America, the CFL, the NFL. I love having Myk on the podcast here. He's a great friend, and it's been delightful these last few years that I've had him on here. It's just love laughing with him, love getting myself to the point where I'm thinking, oh crap, we're going to be in trouble for that one, depending upon the situation there. So I'm probably going to be heading to one of those small towns in New Jersey by the name of Teaneck, New Jersey, and meet the first person, and I'm gonna say hello, how are you? I'm not going to use that word you used earlier though, but but Myk, I hope you have a great week. This should be a fun week of football because again, our two clubs play one another twice this year, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they play twice this year. I think they actually play each other twice this year. I think it's a double up year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because they play them again the 4th of June at the Adelaide Oval in round 13. So
Right.
they'll see them twice then. So yeah, and I think that that's you got two clubs that finished top four. Of course they're gonna see each other twice there. But okay, last thing. Is there any aspect of the game that's got you frustrated at this point in time that we need to go and say, okay, here's the change that has to be made, and we've got the idea for that right now? Anything that
Oh, like I said, teams I don't like, I'm just going to watch the last quarter from now on because both teams take the game on. First quarter, it's too much possession, kicking backwards, forwards,
Yeah.
sideways. It's still too much, and you got to take the game on. And even though it's the only time I've ever complimented those rotten swooping bastard Magpies, when they won the premiership, they took on the game, and you like the style of play. So yeah, just move the ball, move the ball. And what about players don't even stand the mark now? They stand like 10 to 15 meters back from where they could stand a lot of times. So the AFL's trying, but they got to keep trying more and more and have this fast-paced running game. None of this stop-start, sideways, backwards, kicking crap. And too many players around the ball. I mean, it would be hard these days. Some days you could be a great player and hardly get any kicks just because it's not going your way with too many players around the ball. So
Yeah.
they got to keep trying and get the game back to what it was, because the skills and the quickness of the game are incredible now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that it is.
Yeah, it is. And it's, and I wonder if there's any way to incorporate the use of the GPS devices that they've got in their jumpers that would allow them, that would allow, with all of the data and all the electronics that they have, and again, I'm just spitballing this here as we wrap up, if they're able to have some kind of like a buzzer system built into those, for the person to stand the mark, like when you're at the spot where the little thing in your back buzzes and lets you know you're in the spot, stop right there, kind of thing. If they should have that kind of technology. I don't know.
I'm going to leave on this note,
Yep.
mate. You're scaring me now, because if it gets in the wrong hands, they might blow people up with all these Chinese EVs that they reckon can track us and stuff. So, man, you're starting to scare me when you talk like that.
Okay, well that's a very good point there. I hadn't even thought about that. Had not even thought about that. That's a really good point there.
Yeah. All right, I'll leave you on this note. I'll leave you to piss you off. You know what annoys me is the stupidity online, especially Instagram, with two AFL accounts, people getting lots of views with just doing stupidity. And that one guy in America even got given a Geelong Cats jersey this week. But like I said, mate, some of these people are flashing the pans. We are knowledgeable. We mix in some comedy. We go hardcore at times. So that should last. See you later, man.
All
Have
right.
a great week, except for Thursday night. Have a great week.
Yeah, I know you hope I have a miserable Thursday night. You bet. Cheers, mate.
All right. See you.
All right, Myk, thanks for sitting down to chat again today. Yes, our tips are very much different from one another. So this could be a week where one of us puts the other one into our rear view mirror in terms of our predictions for 2026. Again, folks, if you're interested in having your local footy club get a shout out during an upcoming episode, drop me a note via email at ayankonthefooty@gmail.com or head to my website, ayankonthefooty.com. There's links to all my socials there. You can leave a message there as well. And while you're at my podcast website, I do hope you'll subscribe to the mailing list. There will be a little window that'll pop up on the screen right there at the start. Not going to give me sales pitches or anything like that from me, but when a new episode comes out, it'll be in your inbox as soon as it's released. And if you want to help out the podcast, you can certainly click on that Buy Me a Coffee button. You want to leave a voicemail, that'd be great. And a review would be tremendous as well. And if you've got an idea for a guest, I would love to hear from you. I absolutely love doing interviews and sharing this wonderful game and the stories that people have about this wonderful game with other individuals. And that's where you as a listener come in. If you've got a great story to tell, or somebody's got a great story to tell, I would love to hear from them. And I do hope you'll check out my blog as well. I do have the 2026 preview episodes, all 18 of those up if you want to take a peek at those. And if you got a funny question or something you want Myk and I to address during an upcoming episode, please drop me a note, again, via email at ayankonthefooty@gmail.com or over on my website, any of my socials as well. That'd be great. Okay. And folks, look out for one another. Check up on your friends. Make sure they're okay. All right. If you need to talk to somebody, don't hesitate to reach out to them. Those phone numbers are in the show notes of every episode of this podcast. And I do hope you'll reach out if you need to do so. The world is a much, much better place with you in it. All right. And I appreciate the kind words from each and every one of you. And as always, may your dribble kick never hit the post. I will catch you later. And this has been episode 452 of A Yank on the Footy. Again, give me a follow on my socials at Yank_on over on X, a Yank on the Footy podcast on Facebook, a Yank on the Footy on Instagram. All those are linked on my show notes. And subscribe to the podcast and share with your friends and family. And until next time, folks, cheers and goodbye.